So, welcome to the second session of this workshop, The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness. Before we start the session, we'll just step back for a few moments of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and welcome and namaste, everyone. So let's start with sharing a few observations, if you want to, uh, with respect to the homework that we must have done, I'm assuming. So let's share a few observations if any of us have.
I found lots of thoughts, but two themes that spoke meaningfully to me. One was I have some pain in an area where I had surgery previously, and I'm aware after paying attention that I'm focusing on the pain rather than on the healing. So I'll just say, hey, Rick, there's there's a change I could make. So that was a meaningful one. and um, so I'll take some action on that. The second characteristic I found in my thoughts was that I seemed to be running a script of it's not fair. This shouldn't be happening to me. And I can only step back and laugh at that one. But it's meaningful and useful as well. So those are the two amongst a whole bunch of scattered other things.
Beautiful, beautiful. And believe me that you are not alone when you say that it should not be happening to me.
Yes, yes, me.
Yes, that's the common theme that connects us
Uh,
all. Yeah,
uh,
yes. Thank you for sharing. And you said it very rightly that the moment we become conscious of a pattern that we are running after, we can make the change, we can make the correction. So beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Yes, anyone else wants to share?
Yeah, thank you, man. I hope I am audible.
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, there was today was a good day on the whole. No heaviness as such. No heaviness. Why? If I retrospect and analyze, it's the beauty, the beauty which you threw some light on, the beauty of the freedom of self-forgetfulness showed up in different dealings, in different situations. work being done in the house, talking to my friends, or I had to attend a trustee meeting of my alma mater. So I expressed my thoughts there. So that reflected, as a backstage, not as a direct, as a back of the mind. Hmm. So, in an indirect manner, it has impacted me what we went through yesterday, particularly the ocean which you referred to, the drinking, getting thirsty, and taking the not being satisfied with the cup of water and again throwing it, visualizing the ocean as such. But it does not surround. The only thing, it does not surrounding my life as such. Something like that, when we are like, if you have not visited Auroville, the Matri Mandir, when it was being constructed, I had visited. But I could go, when during construction stage, I could go to the top through the staircase, spiral staircase. But today, as I understand, it is the light which comes in from the top, from the sky. So that light which surround, the beauty of that light which gives a kind of a surrounding, it reflects the surrounding of light. The beauty of the light surrounds the light as such. So that thing is, as far as this self forgetfulness is concerned, I don't know. Something is there which just touches and go, touches and go, touches and go. But on the whole, it was quite good. I mean, I feel very nice. No heaviness and light. That's what I understand. I mean, that's what I experienced. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Sundarji. Yes. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add on? Or okay. So I think we are ready to move on then. So I'll just steer ourselves through the slides and then go to Mother's prayers and meditations if we have enough time today, where there are a few lines which I have taken out from many, many prayers, where Mother shares about this exactly what we are discussing, that how cumbersome, how burdensome it is when we are full of thoughts about ourselves, our little self, which we think ourselves to be, but we are not. And how liberating it is, Mother says, it is when we don't have worries and concerns about ourselves, and we are more and more giving ourselves to the divine rather than always asking. So asking is our natural pattern right now, but it's not sustainable. So it has to go away. It has to go away. And if we really, really want to do something good in this life, to make the best opportunity, best of this opportunity that has been given to us, I think it would be really worthwhile if we are able to whatever degree, if we are able to get rid of this burden that we carry on our shoulders all the time, which is obsession about little me. Mm. So we have to make the best of our time, whatever time we have left, we don't know. But that's why it's so urgent, because we don't know how much time we have. And wherever we leave the thread, that's where we start from in the next. So where do we want to leave this life? Because the work has to be done. So 10 lives, 100 lives, doesn't matter. The work has to be done. So where do I leave? Which point am I leaving this life? And then from there we start ahead in the next. So in that sense, it's quite urgent, I would say. And everything else is really secondary. And Sri Aurobindo confirms that to us again and again in various places, that the only business of man is to find his real self. That's the only business that we have. Rest all the businesses and employments and jobs and responsibilities, they actually are secondary to that prime cause of our existence. And that's why I was sharing yesterday that it's okay. Everyone goes through tragedies and losses and dramas and stories. It's all fine. We all go through that. We don't have to make a big deal about our own story, because we all go through that. What's the big deal about my story? The point is to go ahead, to move ahead, and to do for what we are here for.
Ma'am, can you explain this thing, what you just said about only business? You know, what Sri Aurobindo said, I mean, what he propounded. I could
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
that's what we are trying to do here with all these sessions that happen or the books that we read. You know, the only business of me, for example, the only business that I have is to connect, reunite, because we initially discussed that we have separated from our divine essence, right? So consciously reunite with the true self. And the conscious reunion happens in 3 successive stages or simultaneous stages, uh, as we read in integral yoga. First, there is an immanent divine within. That's the most closest to us, which we call psychic being, the presence of the divine within. And again, we'll be not be going in too much detail, but we can read with Mother and Sri Aurobindo that how to get in touch with the psychic within. So that is the first, and then let the psychic rule your life. Let the psychic come fully take over the life, because the psychic is the portion which Mother says is automatically devoted to the divine, to the higher. It doesn't have to do any effort. So that part of us which automatically aspires and knows what is the right thing to do. That knowing, that discernment, that love for the divine, the love for the higher, the love for light is the part, the psychic part. So first, that immanent divine, and it's not like 1, 2, 3, not like that. It can be simultaneously all at once, it doesn't matter. And then there is the spiritual self above us, which is the wide vastness we were discussing yesterday. The self above us, that is spiritual transformation, psychic transformation, spiritual transformation, and then, of course, transcendental transformation. But we don't have to really go there, because we start where we are right now. But at least we start where we are right now. So get in touch with the most closest part in us, most closest, most accessible. And then maybe we are guided in our journey to focus above the head. And then we are guided further above the head and,
Yeah.
like that.
Universe.
Yes. Transcendental. So again, these are the realizations which Sri Aurobindo shares in integral yoga. And it's like they have to happen. There is a certitude that if life divine has to be there on this earth, it is impossible that those realizations don't happen. Because that is how I will be able to make all the transformations in the lower consciousness. So we have lower vital, lower mental, lower physical consciousness, which is full of craving. This is what we are discussing. I am full of craving. I am full of myself. How can I be more? How can I get more? More of respect, more of fame, more of maybe love from somebody, more of attention, more of praise. So this craving part, it's like a very restless something in us, and it's in our blood. And in other words, Sri Aurobindo also calls it the desire soul. It's like craving. So some restlessness, agitation is going on all the time. So that restlessness has to be put completely at rest. Nothing should move. Because Sri Aurobindo says that if you keep on cleaning all these disturbances of jealousy, ambition, lust, greed, all the bouquet that the ego carries with itself, okay, cleaning, rejection, fine. But how long will you do that? They will accumulate again. So what we have to do practically, individually, all of us, whenever we have our empty slots of time for sadhana, we have to put solid peace in our body, in the mind, in the emotions. It's like rock solid, like a brick of ice. And the area for that solidity, along with quietening the mind, is the area below the navel where it's the vital rush is there. You know, ambition, greed, lust, all that is like the lower part of our abdomen. And there, and Sri Aurobindo says that if you place peace there, we all have the power. You put peace there, you call peace there. Everything has to be just rock solid still. And if any one of us has done that practice even for some time, we know that it works. If we are sure, if we are sincere that no, I don't want all these disturbances again in my life. So peace has to be put in all these lower parts. Call for peace, and it has to be placed, like, you know, you are placing a deity in the temple. You are placing peace in your body, in your vital, in your mind, so that the receptacle is now stable. It's like my body is trembling, 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 and of course nothing can contain, you know, in this tremble. So the body is like rock solid receptacle, and ready and open, always receptive to receive grace and higher peace and force and light and whatever wants to descend into it. If if you ask me for tea and the cup is like, you know, you can't pour tea in that cup. So our condition is like that. That's what I have felt in my body. That the more we are united and identified with the lower parts of our nature, which is not our true self, the more we are like this. So it's like a vicious trap we are in. So either we stabilize this, or either something descends first and then stabilizes this. Whatever way it happens. But at least we do our duty if we are tired enough, you know, of those vicious loops. And also, I think not only just being tired enough, I think wisdom grows. Wisdom grows with life. And if we really, really look at our life, we can really see that this circling forever is not going to help me. Always wanting, craving. I mean, I feel that we are blind. I have felt it in myself, that I am just doing the same repetition of wanting again and again. And I mean, how do I forget that this world cannot give me anything? The world itself is a beggar, and what can a beggar give another beggar? And just like I am wanting, each one of us is wanting. So it's like a, you know, endless game that we are stuck in. So whenever we feel that we have gotten, as I was sharing yesterday also, Sri Aurobindo says that whenever you feel disappointed or jealous, tell yourself that in me is awake the eternal fool. And that helps. That helps because it's like it's just a happening. I don't have to take it personally. It happens with everyone. And the moment I recognize this, I can actually transcend it. No problem at all. So we'll go through a few slides, and then whatever is there, of course, feel free at any point of time to share. Just unmute and share. Or if you have a question, you just raise your question in between. So yes, so this is where I left on the slides yesterday, that the ego, if it wants its fulfillment, it has to find the larger self. Remaining an ego, it won't be able to fulfill itself. Because the ego, by its very nature, is smallness of being. It's a contraction of the consciousness. Even if I have a very big ego, some people have a very big ego, right? But how big is that in front of the vastness? Even that big ego, what it does is it wants now big respect, big fame, big name. Oh, I am a big ego. Why don't you respect me for all my experiences in my life? Right? So it's again wanting. It's just like my bowl is bigger, even worse. So ego by its very nature is a smallness of the being, contraction of consciousness, like something is shrinking. And with the contraction, there is limitation of knowledge and disabling ignorance. Ignorance is being ignorant of my true self, because I believe myself to be the image that I have in my head about me. Look, this is me. These many experiences, these many siddhis, these many years in the practice, all these labels on me, my family life, relatives, this, that, this is me. So whatever image I'm carrying in my head about me is my ego. And the more I believe myself to be that, the more I'm ignorant of my true nature. So I have to become unsure of my thoughts. That's very helpful. So ego is incapacity, weakness, scission of oneness, and by that scission, disharmony, failure of sympathy, because again, I'm always thinking about me and my fulfillment. I don't care much about others. So failure of sympathy and love and understanding. And this fragmentation brings us pain and sorrow, of which we all are aware through our own life experiences. So Mother says, be courageous. How much courage it requires not to think of ourselves. Be courageous and do not think of yourself so much. It is because you make your little ego the center of your preoccupation that you are sad and unsatisfied. I mean, when we were observing our thoughts, and even now when we continue to do so, we can see when we become disappointed, we just are thinking about ourselves. Mostly. No?
What is the measure, man? Is there any measure to what she's saying, what Aurobindo is saying? How do you measure? I mean, for myself, is there any measurement? I
Maybe
mean,
we have to make a measuring tape to measure it, no?
what kind of measure is it necessary to have a measure, or
No, I
is
think
it?
it's like a very subjective thing. And if we are sincere, we do have a measure, because the more I'm sad and moody and disappointed in my life, I think the more a reflection that I'm more focused on myself. It's in that subjective terms we can see. And as we were discussing yesterday, that we also have acknowledged those times in our life where we are relatively lighter, not much burden and light and happy. And then we will see we are not concerned much about ourselves. That makes us happy. So inwardly, I think there is a measure. To forget oneself is the great remedy for all ills. Very interesting. So we can ponder upon this. Remedy for all ills. Certainly, it is always better not to be too busy with oneself, Mother says. It is selfishness that makes one jealous. And I'm just taking the points which are concerned with selfishness, not completing all the sentences. Selfishness means wanting everything for oneself, understanding nothing but oneself, caring for others only insofar as they are necessary or important to oneself. So how is that person useful or meaningful to me? If that is the case, then I can care about it. Otherwise, how does it matter? The ego thinks of what it wants and has not. So we were discussing yesterday that sense of lack that comes inherent with the ego. The ego thinks of what it wants and has not. This is its constant preoccupation. While the soul is aware of what it is given and lives in endless gratitude. So all the circumstances of life, if we look at it, we will see that the circumstances of life have been given, if we can say, or designed in such a way that we can't be anything but grateful, because it gives us a chance to come back home to ourselves. When people are not giving enough attention to me, and you didn't get what you want, what happens? We become disappointed, and then we come ultimately back to ourselves, which is the very purpose of this life. So the soul is aware of what it is given. Like when Sri Aurobindo happened to be in Alipur jail, in the beginning, his mind was troubled that, oh my God, why me? Why here? But then he realized what a wonderful opportunity he has got, what he always wanted to do but could never do. And this is something from Buddhist teachings, where they say all the happiness there is in the world arises from wishing others to be happy. Okay, people may not be giving you attention, your relatives or somebody who you want attention from. But again, praying that may they be happy. Without me, doesn't matter. It's immaterial, with or without me. May they be happy, may they be progressive, and may their hearts be in peace. It requires a lot of courage. All the suffering there is in the world arises from wishing oneself to be happy. So again, something for us to ponder upon when we want.
Is it not contradictory, these two sentences?
Contradictory? Please explain how.
Unless I am happy, how can I make others happy?
Hmm.
See, internally, I must be at peace. I must be happy with or without any material benefits, any kind of, its happiness got nothing to do with anything external. It's an internal feeling. It's an internal expression. When you are happy internally, you will definitely accept whatever is given to you, whether you wear one pant or you eat a simple food or whatever. That is what you don't crave for more and more. You surrender. You offer yourself. So that happiness is for yourself. No. So how can wishing oneself to be happy related to the suffering there is in the world? I
Let's
find
think
this quite
about it. I
yeah.
won't give any explanation because it's self-explanatory. Just take these two lines home, I would say, and see if it makes sense to you. Because then we'll just be here. So just take these two lines home if you are really sincere about reflecting upon these, and maybe some insight comes and you see really what they want to say here. All the happiness there is in the world arises from wishing others to be happy. All the suffering there is in the world arises from wishing oneself to be happy. Sri Aurobindo says in one of his aphorisms, selfishness kills the soul, destroys it. So I'm just leaving you all with these lines because, again, we don't have that much time that we stay with one slide for a long time, but just to ponder upon these things. So you take them home and ponder upon, and whenever we feel selfish, and see, is it really killing your soul? Because Sri Aurobindo mentions about the double soul in man, the desire soul and the true soul. And when I'm selfish, I'm acting through the desire soul, which I'm not. So more and more I am stabilized in that desire soul, which always is wanting for itself. And I am totally ignorant of my true consciousness. It's like a blinding curtain in front of me. So in one sense, it's killing my true soul. In the sense, killing in the sense really like putting it away. You are just pushing it away from you. Although again, don't mind the words, because you can't really push the true soul away from you, because that's you. It's just like you are bringing a lot of bricks in between. The brick wall is there in between. And the more I want things for my own self and not for others, only myself, I should have it. And when the others have it, I become jealous. So then we create a very big wall between my true self and myself. So selfishness kills the soul, destroys it in that sense. So there were a few definitions Mother gives to children, and there she also gives a definition for selfishness. And she says, selfishness is to put oneself at the center of the universe. I matter and nobody else really matters that much. My opinion, my point of view matters, and others maybe, I don't know, they may be saying something, but not as important as me. So selfishness is to put oneself at the center of the universe and to want everything to exist for one's own satisfaction, as if people live for you, for you, for people live for making you happy. And if they are not making you happy, if they are not acting according to your ideas, then why are they existing? Generosity is to find one's own satisfaction in the satisfaction of others. So this is an antidote to selfishness, generosity. But it's a very careful path that we have to walk, because at another place, Sri Aurobindo also says that make sure your altruism doesn't kill other person's soul. Because if we are operating from a wrong center, we can be at times just too interfering in other people's affairs, and that can actually uh, bring misery to them rather than something good. Yeah, so this is again what I wanted to touch upon, that we have a desire soul, and then we have a true psychic entity. And oftentimes we confuse. Sri Aurobindo says we are very confused because in movies we see that, oh, I wish that before I leave my body, you should be married or you should have children. So that wish, that is that agitating wish that is there in us for anything, for any relationship, for anything to happen in this life, that agitation is coming from the desire soul with which I am identified. And why I am placing the desire soul in front of us is because it's very much part of our ego, which always is wanting, wanting, craving, craving, because desire soul itself is full of craving. So all these things are quite interlinked with each other: the limited ego, the desire soul, and the lower vital. Because all, it's like a Venn diagram, you have an overlap here and there. It's like all part of the same ball game. Ego, desire, soul, and the lower vital, full of desires, agitation, restlessness, craving, wanting, feeling lack. And Sri Aurobindo says that this is what we have to do. This is why we are born, to dissociate from the desire soul and to get back in touch with our true self, which is the true psychic being in us. And how can we do that? Whenever you see there is an agitation in me, there is a restlessness in me, to make a point, to prove a point, something which is like rushing outside to make a point, step back. Call peace. Because that agitation, whatever we do with that agitation is not definitely the right step to take, because it's coming from that agitated desire soul. So how to enter the freedom of self-forgetfulness? This is how we enter. The moment we become conscious, yesterday we were discussing that we have to become conscious of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. So the moment I'm conscious of an agitation and a restlessness along with my ideas, the best I can do is to step back and not do what I'm going to do in an agitation. And whenever I step back from desire, whenever I'm stepping back from an agitated, restless point of view or a word or a whatever I'm going to do, an action, I'm stepping back in my true self, which has abundance, which is not agitated, which lives, as we read just now, it lives in gratitude. It lives in abundance. So it doesn't, even if it doesn't make a point, that's okay. Let others make the point. So this, again, this we have to know this, because if we want to be free of our cumbersome, burdensome self, we have to know when the desire soul is active in me, because that is what I have to step back from. This is what is the freedom from the little self, freedom from the desire soul. So this again, I'm putting these in front. You don't have to read everything, but in your own time, silent time, just see that maybe this makes sense for us. Here he says, by merely suppressing the ego sense in the impersonal delight, we gain the centerless impersonal and are fulfilled in our static being, but not in our active being. We must therefore gain the other center in the supermind, by which we shall consciously possess and not merely undergo the delight of the one in his universal existence. So what we are trying to do is, as I was sharing earlier also, that we can't just keep on rejecting. In parallel, there has to arise a wisdom and a positive peace and stillness in the being. Because if we are suppressing something and inside I know, oh, that no, I want to make this point, but oh, I had read that I should not, express it out immediately. But you are sure that you have to make the point. So that surety is what something, it won't let you be in peace, because you are still believing that you are right. The ego is right. The ego has the right point of view. So it's not by suppression of the ego that we are going to find the fulfillment. Parallelly, we have to become abundant within. And how we will become abundant within? We have to do the sadhana of union with our true self in the depth of our heart and in the above our head. Because only when I'm abundant, as Sundarji was pointing, that how can I make others happy when I'm not happy? So in parallel, that movement has to be there of uniting and reuniting consciously with my higher self, because that lives in abundance. And if I am abundant, then I can step back from that agitation. So these movements are parallel movements. Otherwise, it will be suppression of a lack, which you won't be able to suppress for long. Ultimately, it will just blast through. One day you will say, oh, I have waited enough. I've been wanting to say this for so many days. So it's like that, as if there is a volcano that you are pressing inside your heart. But that's not what we have to do here. It's through wisdom that we are stepping back from the ego, knowing that what I feel myself to be, this limited, lacking self, I am not. And how would I get convinced? Parallelly, you have to do the sadhana of reuniting with your true self and putting others first where you place yourself, and see whether that brings a joy or not, whether that feels right or not. So in parallel, these actions have to be taken. Otherwise, it will be just a suppression of the lack while one doesn't feel abundant within. And one day the volcano will burst and you will realize that, it was just like bubbling inside below the surface and no real change was there. Yeah, so this is what we do. The desire soul, left to itself, would circle in the same grooves forever. So this is what we see when we become conscious of our thoughts and feelings. They are just repeating the same grooves, nothing new, the same drama. Degrees may vary. Same people, same drama. What's new? Same tape repeating again and again and again. That's what happens if it's just left to the desire self, which is the ego consciousness or the lower vital. So that's why aspiration comes in the picture, because that part in us which gets tired and it says, Lord, deliver me from my own self. When we notice this continuous circling. Yeah, so this was the aphorism which I was referring to earlier. When I pine at misfortune and call it evil, or am jealous or disappointed, then I know that there is awake in me again the eternal fool. Hmm. So, it's very important to get convinced that we actually are blind and we don't see clearly. Because if I am not convinced that I'm blind, then I'm not open for illumination. And if at this point of time, we just know that I'm right, then there is no chance. So there has to be doubt, there has to be unsurety of our own opinions. And only then, like a blind man, we can actually be open for illumination. Yes, Sundarji.
Thank you, ma'am. Very interesting. The thing is that what I would, what I understand is, how do we have an unwavering commitment to this newfound role as an individual? Vis-a-vis, I see my role in life, which is always taking the precedence. In day to day, it always takes a precedence. My role in life so far has been that of a public relation officer. So whatever I do, takes a precedence, and so the what you say is opposite to what I am doing at the moment. So what is that unwavering? How do I get that unwavering commitment to understand this or adopt this or experience it always? That question remains. In a small little thing, I'll give an example.
Hmm.
Okay, very small things. Like it's to do now. Today's world is quite different from what I have lived. My parents were whatever they said, I used to listen. Now the children is going to listen. I mean, they have their own, and everybody has his own private space and not to be disturbed. If they want to do something, they will tell you, and you don't. So that is a different world altogether. Maybe it's true for me, maybe true for everybody. Now they're into digital world. You see, anything is ordered online. Anything, and then even simple walking to the market or buying something, and getting services. This what is that? They clean the house and all that. People come, no, the groups will come. But I have my own way of dealing, of transportation, going to the airport or going to the station. I have my connections, which I use my peer connections. So my role takes precedence, and then there's a lot of conflict. I feel a lot of conflict. I would try to do this way, but then no, they immediately on the mobile they get a Ola and go. Whatever price they don't care for the price to be paid. See, these are the things which I I don't know how to deal with such situations. I don't know about you, about others.
So first of all, Sundarji, I have to appreciate that it's very good that at least you are thinking about this, that I want to deal with this, because somewhere there is an unsurety arising. that, maybe I don't know the right way to deal, right? So I think it's very good. It's a very good sign, I would say, of coming back to the ground. And it's very important for all of us to have our feet on the ground and not up in the air, because that's the challenge. That's where the trouble comes. So first of all, one has to acknowledge that it's a very beautiful phase that you are questioning this and asking this rather than be totally certain about what you think is right. Secondly, we have to see that what has happened in past few years, this progression in technology, this is quite unprecedented, and nobody was ready for it. But this had to come. Why? And Sri Aurobindo in Synthesis of Yoga talks about some thing which he calls progressive mind. Read about it. If you haven't already, just read about it and see what he wants to say there. Because he says that, see, earlier, uh, only the celebrities were on social media. They were the one public figures. Now, everyone has Instagram. Everyone is making reels and videos and have YouTube channel, and everyone is a celebrity. Now, it's not only a certain category of people who can be a celebrity. Everyone has the right. Same with the digital thing. Same with money. You are saying that earlier we used to care about money, right? And that was a time. I remember that time as well. But suddenly, immediately, with the capitalism and so much of consumerism and money flowing into corporate world like anything, people have just become too abundant. I'm again talking at large of the section of society you are talking of. There is poverty as well, but it's like a extreme disconnect. At People are so filthily rich and others are on the street, so like that a disconnect
Yeah.
is there,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And Sri Aurobindo says that now nature is trying to make progressive mind a common entity, like common for everyone. What is progressive mind? Earlier, the villagers and other people who are less educated, they don't know how to operate a phone. Now everyone has a smartphone.
Yeah. Even a
Everyone
rickshaw pull.
can,
Yeah.
right? So this is again, see, we have to see that we don't see clearly. We don't know what is the larger plan. What is nature trying to do with all these movements? So the more as we were discussing on the slide, that like a blind man, I'm now ready for illumination. The more I tell myself that no, I actually don't see clearly. Maybe there is something I'm missing in this picture. So when we look at this present generation, and I had my own ways, and this generation has its own way, which to me doesn't feel right. I was, right, or our generation was much righter. We have to leave space for uh, unsurety. I don't know. Maybe I can't see the true picture. You know.
So
And
I resort to keeping quiet. And let them decide. Exactly.
but again,
Keep quiet.
in keeping quiet, you have to be very careful. This is what we were discussing. So it should not be that inside you have bubbling of all the
No,
opinions
no.
you agree as right, but on the top you are like, like quiet. So that I
Accept,
have to be aware of. Yeah.
acceptance of it as a truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this acceptance words is quite very interesting and dangerous word, because yesterday also it came. I actually thank you for pointing it out. I wanted to talk about it. See, when we are saying I am accepting the situation, it's quite arrogant of us in one sense. And think about it, huh? The universe has already allowed that thing to happen. It's already
Exactly.
happened.
It's
And
all
now you
given.
are the one who will accept.
Yeah. No, we are nobody. Yeah. We are nobody. Yes. It has
So
given
this,
everything to us. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's very interesting to see this. Where is
Yeah.
this coming from? This word, okay, I
Yeah.
accept you or forgive you. I mean, who are you, man? It's like I'm sitting in a room and a filthy man full of dirt enters. And the space in the room has already allowed the man to enter. The space did not say, no, you are not allowed. But now I am saying whether this man is allowed in the room or not. Let me decide. So again, that superiority thing comes here, of which we are trying to be careful. Hmm? Yeah, so this eternal fool thing, what we were seeing, we have to see that in the description of that aphorism, where mother describes, gives an explanation to that aphorism of Sri Aurobindo, she says that we have to see that because of ignorance, we don't see things as they really are. So keep space for that. Maybe some situation is happening in in my life, which is not suitable to me. It's inconvenient to me. It's comforting. I'm not liking it. Huh? It's happening not according to my wishes. But again, I have to tell myself, I don't know the larger picture. And I don't know whether the story in my head is a true story, because we are all dreaming, actually, in one sense. In one sense, we are all dreaming, because the same situation, and say 10 people were involved in the same situation, each one will give you a different story. Whose story is right? So in one sense, we are all dreaming. The mother-in-law will say, my daughter-in-law was at fault. The daughter-in-law will say, no, she suppressed me. Now, who is at fault? No one, actually, because everyone is just involved in their story, and no story is right story. Or maybe we can say, actually, every story is the right story, because that's their point of view. But what we want, why my life gets stuck again and again, what I want is that the story in my head about the situation is the right story, and you are wrong. That's where we get stuck. But once we become more intimate with our psyche, we see how we are defending our own story. We will see that the same is happening with the other human being also. He's also stuck in that story and defending that story. Poor fellow, what shall he do? So what is the difference between me and you? Nothing. I am sure of my story. You are sure of your story. We are all human beings, and that is where our fault lies, that we are too sure of our stories. So stepping back from the story, stepping back from drama, and knowing that story is a story and it has no bearing with the truth. As mother was sharing, that we don't see the picture as it clearly is, because of our shaded mind and shaded perceptions. It's like everyone is wearing a colored goggle, and he thinks that the world is yellow, you say the world is red, you say the world is blue. Okay, up to you. To each his own. So when do we begin to harmonize with each other? When we realize that each one is wearing goggles, sunglasses, including myself, and even what I am thinking is actually not the right view. Then I am ready to listen to the other person. So I'm stepping back from too much surety of my thoughts and opinions and ideas. This is a very wise happening already. Already some progress has been made when you are less sure of yourself. That is where you can listen. That is where you can synthesize, harmonize. The synthesis that Sri Aurobindo has done for us. Who has done that synthesis, and why not? Because we are not ready to listen to each other. We think that, no, I am the one who is right, and if I have to be right, you have to be wrong. But he says, no, 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 no. Each one has its proper place. So let's give that proper place to each one. How beautiful, no? And how humble, how grounded. Only divine can be so grounded, because he knows that everything has a proper place. Okay. Shall we move ahead to Mother's prayers? Yeah. Yeah, so it is when one feels like a blind man that one begins to be ready for the illumination. That yes, I know that I can't see clearly. Let me ask for help. Let me ask for, if I am a blind man crossing a road, and if I know that I need help, then I will ask for help. No, if I know that I don't need help and I'm seeing clearly, then there is no need for asking. So it opens us for aspiration. That yes, mother, I don't see clearly, and you know better than me. So please guide me. Please guide me. Keep guiding me. Like that. So again, I'm not going into the vital because as I shared that there is much that we can read about the lower vital, which is full of this anger, greed, lust, desire. And the true vital actually is wide, vast, calm, without limitations, like a warrior. And that is what we have to become and get identified with. So not going much into that. And this I shared last time, yesterday, I had shared that getting peace in the body, in the vital, is very, very important. And he says that if you simply keep on cleaning, then things are happening very slowly. It has to be done again and again. But peace is something that is clean in itself. So the moment you place peace in the mental, vital, and the body, it is like a positive way of securing uh, the higher consciousness, the true consciousness. And to look for dirt only is and clean is the negative way, he says. So it helps when we put solid peace in the body, mind, and emotions. Yeah, so this will come to later. And yeah, so now we've talked enough about the misery part. Where is the misery coming from? Now, what do we do about it? We see that, yes, we are wanting, lacking, always focusing on oneself. Now, what do you do about it? So mother says that, yes, indeed, the very act of genuine self-giving is its own immediate reward. It brings with it such happiness, such confidence, such security as nothing else can give. So that bowl, begging bowl that I have always in my hand, you have thrown it away in the ocean now. And this throwing has to be done again and again, self-giving. The begging has to be offered again and again. And then we come to the excerpts from prayers and meditations where mother shares this process of self-giving and how much of relief this process gives her. So in August 17, 1913, she's saying, how shall I describe that utter relief, that delightful lightness which comes when one is free from all anxiety for oneself, for one's life and health and satisfaction, and even one's progress. Whether I'm progressing or not, mother knows the best. I have to just keep doing my work. How many siddhis I have attained, how many realizations have happened, not my task. I have to keep at my work. And she says, free of anxiety, even one's life and health and satisfaction. So even when I'm dissatisfied, again, remembering the mother in the dissatisfaction, remembering the divine in your dissatisfaction, that I don't have to bother if I'm discontent. Keep on offering that discontent to the divine. That yes, I have noticed it, it is there, and this again belongs to you. So you know the best what to do with it. Because it springs up again and again. So this is the process mother follows, as we see in prayers and meditation, that she does it, and then she describes the relief that she gets out of this process of self-giving. Then again, we go to March 30, 1917. Now the words she uses, amazing, no? There is a sovereign royalty in taking no thought for oneself. Like you live like a king. Royalty in taking no thought for oneself. You jump and save somebody's life, not bothering whether you will be a safe or not. Whether you will be taken care of or not, that is of no concern to you. You jump in, you plunge in for the right work, for the right challenge. So she says there is a sovereign royalty in taking no thought for oneself. To have needs is to assert a weakness. To claim something proves that we lack that what we claim. To desire is to be impotent. Potent means powerful, and when we are desiring, we know, all of us know how powerless we become. So Mother says, how humiliating to ask something for oneself from life or from the supreme consciousness which animates us. Only the egoistic limits of our being prevent us from enjoying the whole universe as completely and concretely as we possess our own body and its immediate surroundings. So we can actually take delight in the all of the happening of the universe, and what stops us to take that delight is the narrow bounds of our egoistic consciousness. And she says, how humiliating to ask something for oneself. She's feeling that I'm asking for something, and it's like, it's an insult on the divine. How much have we been given? Still asking, still asking. March 30, 1917. She says, thou hast willed that I should put the care of my destiny utterly in thy hands and abdicate altogether all personal preoccupation. Abdicate, like radical cutting off. And every moment, whenever it arises, it has to be radically abdicated altogether, all personal preoccupation. November 28, 1912. So she says now that whatever happens in our life, we have to make the best of those situations. And she says very modestly, we must take advantage of all the minute opportunities offered to knead and purify some of the innumerable elements, to make them supple and to make them impersonal, to teach them forgetfulness of self. So in the thoughts, teaching them forgetfulness of self. In the feelings, teaching them forgetfulness of the self. In the vital energies, again, same teaching. And in the body. So we can make use of any opportunity that comes, where you are challenged with a situation where you have a want in you and the situation is not happening according to you, taking that as an opportunity to teach each part of the being forgetfulness of the self, and abnegation, and devotion, and kindness, and gentleness. And then she talks about transformation of nature. She says, and when all these modes, which modes? Forgetfulness of self, abnegation, devotion, kindness, and gentleness, all these modes of being have become habitual to them. So now we were discussing yesterday that how now I can't play a wrong shot. It's impossible for the expert player to play a wrong shot. So she says, when these things have become habitual, then they are ready to participate in the contemplation and further identification with the divine. So right now, my habitual thing is always to be, thinking about myself, my opinion, my point of view, whether I am given space to share or respect or fame or name or not. And now Mother says that all this has to go away. Self-forgetfulness has to become way of being. Kindness, gentleness has to become way of being. And when that happens, it becomes a way of being. Then further identification with the divine can happen. Again, so this repeatedly, I was really struck by these prayers because these repeatedly come in Mother's prayers and meditations. November 28, 1913. Grant that today may bring to us a completer consecration to thy will, a more integral gift of ourselves, again self-giving, to thy work, a more total forgetfulness of self. And along with that, when a total forgetfulness of self we consciously are able to do, to manage, a greater illumination, because then we are receptive, we are empty of our own rubbish. So the receptacle is empty and pure. A greater illumination and a purer love. And it's only love that can transform this life. So the more we become capable of loving, the more people get touched, and the number of people that we can touch is also greater. How many people did Mother touch? Innumerable, because of the power of love. And people who had very difficult characters, extremely difficult characters of the sadhaks that we see, some of them really difficult, vital. And Mother changed, worked upon them, trying to knit them, mold them with her love. So it requires, otherwise I have seen that we give up. You will see, if we notice in our personal relationships and in that workplace and other things, we give up so easily that no, that person is not going to change. There is no point talking to him. I have seen that we give up very easily. So I feel that we lack love. And the more we are united in our true consciousness and forgetful of our own self, the more love we have. And we would say no. If there is something right, let's try again. Let's try again. Let's work again. And because of that love, the other person also gets an opening. Otherwise, very difficult character. So it's very interesting. I see that how easily we can give up on people. And when we are consciously putting an effort that, no, I don't want to give up, then more and more we see kindness arising in me, kindness arising in us, love arising in us, and a kind of a battle for truth. Because things have to change in material life, don't they? In my meditation, in my room, all by myself, I am happy, I am delighted. After some turmoil that I go through, I feel calm, I feel good. But what about when I go back to those relations or difficult people around me? So I feel that it's like a great courage, and with love comes courage to persist. And if I see Mother's life, I think so much of love and courage to change so difficult people and to not give up on them. People who are saying, no, Mother doesn't love me, I'm going away from the ashram. And here Mother is, again, with lots of love for them, and knowing that, what they are saying is actually not true. So again, it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge that either we accept or not. Maybe we feel called for it or not. Some of us may feel it's too big of a challenge. Pehle main apna dekh loon, let me take care of myself. But it's a vicious trap. So the more we live for truth and courage and love, the more we see that we are rid of our little self. It's like plunging yourself into something higher. You forget the lower by effect of it. And one of the example that I used to give for this is that, imagine that there are two people entangled in a relationship, and they are talking about, discussing about the thing that, you should not have done that, and I should not have done that, and things are happening, discussion, and immediately there is fire in that room. Now, what would they do? Would they still continue to discuss? No, because now the discussion has become secondary. Now saving their lives has become primary. So when we plunge ourselves in something more truer than us, more, worthy of our attention, then by effect of its vastness, the challenge that we have given us, by effect of it, we get forgetful of the little me. It doesn't matter anymore. Whether I live or die is immaterial. Now this should happen. The work should get done. And we have so many stories. Human beings, spirits rises mightier by every defeat. So we have so many stories where people have shown acts of heroism, which in our daily lives we can't think of, but they have done that. One of us may have done that. In that moment where we know that no, right now I have to plunge into this, I don't worry about my life. Where is that little self then? So this is a parallel way of becoming forgetful of the little me, because if we always try to remove and reject the little me and the thoughts and my story and drama, again, as Sri Aurobindo is sharing, it is a negative way. And you will continue doing that. A more positive way is to offer yourself to a higher work, a work which means more than your life. And which may be actually just following a physical discipline or making other people do some exercises because you are working on the body consciousness and not breaking that discipline, right? So in integral yoga, Sri Aurobindo places, Mother places so much emphasis on taking care of the body consciousness, making it fit, ready, healthy, supple for illumination. So even if I am able to push myself to a discipline of physical education in my life, it's actually something higher than you. You don't want to get up today. In the morning, you are feeling lazy. But no, you say, no, this work has to be done. The body has to be ripe for illumination. You push yourself to the discipline. That also is something, although it's in narrow bounds of your own life, but I think it's something still higher, because you have the intention in mind is that the body has to be a good receptacle. And I have to push myself because the body again and again falls into tamas and nothing doing. Mother says we have to rise out of tamas. So body has to be active, healthy, ready, as long as I can do it. So even that is putting ourselves in something higher than us, because that requires your personal effort and a lot of courage also to rise from that tamas and push yourself in the same discipline again for a greater collaboration. So that also falls in the same line, I would say. Even if you're not doing something for many others, but whatever ripple you are making, that ripple goes out in the collective consciousness. And who knows, somebody else is able to rise above his tamas because of your effort. Yes, so let's take some thoughts or some sharing or questions or whatever it is you want to share. Please go ahead.
It's not that easy.
Sorry?
So it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
So once we read a text, some slides which you shared, reading sounds quite easy. It's not. It's okay. Yeah, I can do that. But the homework you gave us yesterday, I couldn't do it because it will take a lot of time, to understand, and then always remind myself and witness and tell myself. Actually, identifying that particular moment is also important. So in the last 24 hours, if I've slept for 7 hours, the rest of the waking hours, all the time I have to be aware. So it's not something I'll do it for 1 hour or in one situation. So you do it all the time, 24/7, which will take a lot of practice. Yes, and absorbing.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, what happens is that imagine that I have to do yoga and I'm not finding enough time for doing yoga. Because there is something in my mind which says that if I do yoga, I have to do it for 1 hour at least. Otherwise, what's the point? So what happens is that because of this big demand that I have made from myself, that if I have to do yoga, I have to sit at least, do it, be on the mat for at least 1 hour.
1 hour.
What happens is that because of this impractical demand, I'm not even able to do yoga for 5-10 minutes.
Yes.
So I don't think we need to put too much of a demand, although I totally understand where you are coming from, that awareness is not just like 10 minutes a day. You have to keep a continuity. Absolutely. But we start from somewhere. We start from those movements where we can be aware. We
Yes.
see
So
that, oh,
out of 5,
relatively,
if I'm able to achieve 2, at least I'm arriving.
exactly.
I'm aware that
Yes,
okay, I
yes.
missed 3. I
Yes.
reacted, or maybe I put myself first, or maybe didn't do much. But even if out of 5, if I do two times, twice, even then I think
Bilkul.
I'm trying to do
Yes,
something.
yes. So we have to be very kind and gentle, at the same time firm and strict with ourselves.
Yeah.
But kindness and gentleness also has to be there, because if we put too much baggage on ourselves, as I said, 1 hour yoga, otherwise no yoga, then actually what this happened with me, that I was not able to give enough time. But then I realized that, okay, let me start with 5 to 10 minutes, because this is the time that I can give. And you would not believe that even in 5-10 minutes of concentrated effort of Surya Namaskar and what I wanted to do, I actually felt the change. And then slowly I increased my time, because it's like self-motivation. In 5 to 10 minutes, you feel such a great difference, then you want to give more time to it, right? Because you see the balance and stability and everything that it gives to you.
That's quite achievable target, right? If you just
Yeah.
start with 10 to 5 minutes.
Yes. So we have to make use of wherever we see that, okay, right now I can see that fluctuation. Now I'm aware of what I'm thinking. So let me make the use of this occasion. At times, there will be other occasions where you are too attached to the situation and not really fully aware of your thoughts rather than acting through those thoughts. It's okay. We have to start at somewhere. So let's be kind. Just give yourself freedom to be kind to yourself and make use of wherever you can start. And not putting too much of burden that, no, I have to be aware throughout the day, and it requires too much of space. And it does require, but that comes slowly when you become motivated through your 5 to 10 and whatever
Yeah,
little
right.
practices,
Yeah.
because it gives you motivation that, see, it makes
I
me
could
feel
do
more
it.
balanced. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for being so honest and sharing that.
Thank you.
Yes, Sundarji.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have this in mind that it's never too late, to pursue your passion. Passion and about what you say of being self. Yeah, and to also be in your path. Reshape your path. That's it. And integrating mind and body practices. Mind body practices. So it is challenging, but the transformative power of embracing change in life is vast. It's very appealing. That's what I find. Yeah, as we call it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is appealing. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, my experience more and more is that it's a big help becoming upset. Like the moment you realize you're getting upset on something, you can pull the reins. It's like I'm riding a horse, it's going crazy and I can't, then I have the possibility of. So in very practical situations. Like I have my grandchild with us sometimes, and for her, she's a baby. She's not even 2. So it's the present moment. Now she had just come back from native place and wanted to be with me. And I had 2, 3 Zooms today. But just, even the switching off and saying, yes, I can listen to the recording later. I don't need to be upset that I can't do this thing that I want to do, and lending my time, playing with her. And that is an experience itself, and with small children, actually, it's a grace because they want you to be in the present moment, and they actually take your time because they know that, as you were saying, no, the universe has given us everything, has given you the grandmom because you can use her. you know so she knows that. While we are there upset about so many things, but I think one of the easy things, not easy, but things that help me a lot in life, especially after going through very difficult traumatic situations and coming out of it, is realizing that I'm upset. If I'm upset, there's something that it's a question mark. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to just sit on that upsetness? And sometimes it happens. It it happens for 5 minutes. And that itself, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? So to, restart immediately and focus on something else, because that thought of that person who traumatized you is going to come back once in a while. Knowing it, it's better that I start reading a book or drawing a thing, or whatever else, so that I can get out of that loop in the first place. And but yes, I think that it's a gift, these issues we have in life, because that steadily brings us back to the awareness of the present moment. That's great. And the fact that we are talking about it helps a lot, because each time we listen to each other, that's the point. It's like, we can pin the things on top of our screens or on top of our things, like you pin it there. You will to remember, this is my aim, is to surrender to God, nothing else.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yes. So earlier also we had, I don't know how many of you were present, but some of you were there, I remember. In the earlier workshops, I had shared these 8 worldly concerns. And it is very interesting to see that whenever we find ourselves upset or in a difficult mood, most of the times, if not all, most of the times, we are entangled in these 8 worldly concerns. So, for example, running towards pleasure and running away from pain. Maybe somebody said something which was insulting to you. So, running towards recognition and not wanting blame or criticism. So, in Buddhism, they share these 8 worldly concerns: wanting gain, not wanting loss. And any of us, billions of human beings, gazillions of human beings, each one of us is same in that regard, that if we are stuck in those 8 worldly concerns, it is impossible that we don't have a bad mood. And this is the loop that we have to get out of in this life, if we can. Haven't I seen enough that when I run towards pleasure and not want pain, what happens to me? Haven't I seen enough? And also, parallelly, Buddhism also shares with us, knowing that this world cannot fulfill our lack. And in integral yoga also we see, Mother shares, never depend on anybody. Nothing in this world can fulfill you. Always depend on the divine. Lean on the divine. But as I was sharing yesterday, that we actually, like a curtain of blindness comes in front of us because of our attachments. And we again begin to expect from some situation. And again fall a prey to those 8 worldly concerns. And this is what we have to again and again remind ourselves. Okay, like I'm sleeping again, I'm sleeping again. And slowly, slowly, there is a lot of hope that we actually, Mother shares that you have to lose all taste for suffering. So slowly we actually, and I've seen this happen, that a difficult situation may happen, but you won't suffer. Same situation may get repeated what you used to have earlier, but now suffering is not there. You may have a few seconds of disappointment, but that's all. But no suffering, because you have lost the taste for suffering. Nothing in your being wants to suffer, because suffering is actually, suffering is a very opportune moment also to redirect our life, as Sri Devi was sharing. Because it's in that moment when we are upset, you can concentrate your threads of consciousness and work on it. But at the same time, when we have done that enough, we don't need to call suffering again and again. You just go through the challenge and that's it. So you are done with suffering. The suffering has done its job in your life. So difficult situations may happen. The same loop will get repeated again and again with the people you have attachment with. Difficult situations may come, health issues may come, and all of that we will go through, but there will be no suffering. Because I have lost the taste for suffering. I don't go back to it again. There is a vigor in life, an enthusiasm in life, a knowing that everything is happening for a larger good, which I don't know. So what's the point to suffer? Pain is there, but no suffering. And the less we are suffering, again, in the beginning, Sundarji was asking, what is the measure? How do we measure? The less I'm suffering, the less I'm identified with my ego consciousness, and the more I'm free and in the moment. And suffering is arising usually because I am identified because of our desires and attachments. And believe me, when I'm saying this, I have a very full taste of it. I'm not saying something out of just a book. So I empathize with each and every one, because this is where we start from. But we don't have to keep repeating the loop. So we will learn our lessons. We will go through the difficulties. We will deal with the difficult persons in our life and attached relationships and sad moments in our life. But all of that more and more in a knowing rather than suffering. Yes, it happened. Yes, that happened. Yes, this happens. With all of us, it happens. It's a collective consciousness that we have. And there we step into samatha and equality, which is coming out of soul's consciousness. True samatha is coming from soul's consciousness, which is unshakable. "8:30, beep, 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 beep." Yes. Anything that you want to share, anyone?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we end here today. Wait, let me give you some homework. Okay, so let's notice again, for those of us may have done this exercise earlier, but let's do it again to see, notice whenever you get upset or some disappointment is there, just see, is it true that I am engaged in the 8 worldly concerns? Just check for yourself. And if you feel like sharing, you share, otherwise don't share. But just check for yourself. Is it true that I'm wanting pleasure, but I got pain, and I don't want pain? I wanting respect, but I got infamy, and I don't want that. So is it true? Wanting gain, got loss, and I didn't want that. So see if this loop is there. If at all you get upset and there is a dark cloud, even for a second, if you can catch it, just for noticing for our own self, it would be a nice practice. And whenever you notice, just tell yourself that this is what all of humankind is stuck in. You're not alone. We are all in together in this, and we have to rise from this. Okay. Great. So thank you, everyone, and good evening, good morning, and have a good day or good night. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Monica.
everyone.
All the best. Namaste to you all.
Namaste, James. Thank you.